Hello everyone, welcome to a new series with the History Master. In this series, we will explore the career of the chess world champions, including highlighting their strengths, repertoire, skills, achievements, and playstyle. So this is going to be a long series. At the end of the video, I will be showing stats based on their skills, just to give an idea where these players excel, even though we know they were almost excellent in all of these categories. If I give a score that you may think is low, just remember that I don't think they were bad at it, just not the most remarkable skill. Making that clear, let's dive into history. Wilhelm Steinitz was born in May 18, 1836 in Austria. Having a temperamental personality, he gained some enemies since the beginning, because of his disrespectful comments against his opponents. Probably one of the pioneers of trash talking. People started to hear his name after winning a tournament in Vienna in 1861, and was invited to represent Austria in the London tournament in 1862. After that tournament, Steinitz started to challenge strong players to matches, very common in that period of time. Matches were very suitable for Steinitz, because he wanted to prove everyone that he was the best, and he really wanted to destroy his opponents. He started to demolish player after player in the upcoming years. For example, his match against Blackburn in 1862, he won with a score of 7.5, 1.5. His match against Deacon in 1863, he won with a score of 5.5 to 1.5. And his match against Green in 1864, with a score of 6.5 to half. These dominating performances sounded very loud, and people started to say that Steinitz was one of the top players in the world. At that time, there was no organization like FIDE, or anything close to the FIDE rating. But people knew that if Steinitz wanted to be proclaimed as the top player in the world, he needed to beat Adolf Anderssen in a match, who at the time was the top player in the world. At least that's what the people were saying. This was the case in 1866, and after an incredible match of ups and downs and no draws, Steinitz defeated Anderssen by 8-6. His fantastic romantic style on the board, full of sacrifices and explosive play, was shared by everyone. But after defeating Zukertort in the match of 1872 by 9-3, Steinitz started to notice something that will change the world of chess forever. There was no doubt that Steinitz was one of the top players in the world. However, Steinitz was not satisfied. He started to analyze games, especially Paul Morphy's games. He wanted to reveal the secrets of how Morphy was so dominating against his opponents from 1858 to 1859. And after a deep analysis of many games, he started to find out general rules and created the fundamentals of positional chess. Something that nobody was expecting is that instead of making sacrifices and start attacking as soon as possible, the best thing to do is to play solid and develop your pieces first. Create small advantages that will eventually win the game. Concepts such as isolated pawn, double pawns, connected pawns were created. Emphasis on controlling the center. Highlight the advantages of bishops over the knights. Recommendation of studying endgames. Steinitz basically unveiled all the fundamentals of positional play, and he was about to defend this new discovery fiercely. After many years of trying to know who was the best player on the planet, the first official World Championship match was organized in 1886. And the participants were Steinitz and Zukertort, who won the incredible tough tournament London International Masters in 1883 and gained the invitation to be a contender of the first World Championship match. Zukertort started the match with 4 wins out of 5 games, but Steinitz made one of the biggest comebacks in history and ended up winning the match with his positional playstyle, defeating Zukertort with a score of 12.5, 7.5. becoming the first official chess world champion. Steinitz defended his title in 3 occasions. The next 3 matches were the best of 20 games wins. In 1889, against Chigorin, with a score of 10.5, 6.5. Against Gonsberg in 1890, with a score of 10.5, 8.5. And one more time against Chigorin in 1892, by 12.5, 10.5. A match that was decided by tiebreak, in which Chigorin made one of the biggest blunders in chess history. Chigorin was about to tie the score again, and he had a clearly winning position with white, due to the material imbalance, when in this position, he played bishop b4, blundering mate in 2 and losing the chance to become the world champion. At this time, many young players started to adopt the positional play of Steinitz, and tried to perfect it by analyzing games and getting more involved in theory. One of them was Emanuel Lasker, who won the World Championship match against Steinitz in 1894, when Steinitz was 58 years old. Even though Steinitz was not the player that was before, he still was getting good results in international tournaments, such as first place in New York 1894 and second place in the strong St. Petersburg 4 Masters tournament in 1895. Wilhelm Steinitz died in 1900, at 64 years old. Before going to Steinitz stats, let's quickly check 2 of his games to see the contrast in his playstyle from romantic to positional. I will speed up the majority of the games because I just want to show the contrast in the playstyle. The first game is from his match against Zukertort in 1872, Game 6. Steinitz, with the white pieces, goes for the King's Gambit, the favorite opening for the romantic players. Not caring about castle, just point your pieces towards the enemy king, and he does an excellent job. Just to show you how he ends the game, in the position after move 27, he wins the exchange after knight f6 check. His king is not safe at all. However, he doesn't give any chances to his opponent to create an attack. After a couple of moves, he plays rook h2, not allowing counterplay, defending the a2 pawn. And after queen b7, Steinitz finds the cherry on the cake, with rook takes h7, demolishing the king's castle and finishing the game's move after. The second game is from the World Championship in 1886, also against Zukertort. Game 1, completely different game we see here. Everything close in the center. Black has 2 strong bishops attacking the kingside, and eventually will create a devastating attack in the kingside while the white pieces are stuck in the queenside. I won't show the rest of this game because we got what we need. 2 incredible different playstyles with same results. After this, Steinitz's stats are the following. 77 in aggressiveness, since later in his career he changed to a more positional approach. 82 in mental strength, due to being really strong in matches, and also he was able to make some comebacks. Adaptability 92. He was capable of playing solid games as well as tactical games. Calculation 77. Even though he won many matches, he also lost a good amount of games in his career. Technique 83, because of his emphasis towards the study of endgames. Prophylaxis 80, as we just saw an example in the previous game, with that rook h2 move. Revolutionary 97, for his contribution of the fundamentals of positional play. And finally, resourceful 79, for a total average of 82.6. I admire how Steinitz, probably being the best player in the world, went from a playstyle that was giving him good results to find the perfection into positional play. That's something just a few people can accomplish. Thank you everyone. That's it for today's video. I will see you on the next one.